Welcome to Monaco for round number 1 of the 1966 Formula One World Championship for drivers, the Monaco Grand Prix. This is the start of a brand new Formula One season for our racing driver Richie Axelson, and after finishing 6th in the 1965 edition with Graham Hill taking the title, hopes are high to get some consistent results, get rid of a few of the mistakes, and challenge Graham Hill, Jim Clark, Jack Brabham, and the rest of them for the World Drivers' Championship. The 1966 championship will take us all throughout Europe and to North and Central America to compete in just 9 rounds. Out of the 9 rounds, the top 5 point scoring finishes for a driver count towards their championship. So although there's 9 rounds, we effectively have 4 drop races. I want to avoid everything possible to have the first round be one of those drop races, but Monaco, as ever, is a treacherous race, weaving in and out of the streets between guardrails, around hairpins, and through chicanes. There's no margin for error at Monaco, and running slightly wide can end your race in an instant, never mind trying to pass one of the other competitors. The story in the lead up to this race has been the return to power for Formula One, switching from a 1.5-liter engine capacity used throughout the early 1960s to a full 3-liter engine capacity, requiring most teams to design brand new engines and chassis in the short off-season from 1965 to 66. As such, only a few teams were able to show up fully prepared for the 66 season. Cooper with their T81 chassis and drivers, Richie Ginther and Jochen Rindt had their Maserati V12 engine, a full 3-liter capacity, but bored out from an older design which was almost a decade old at this point, showed the scrappy nature in which teams cobbled together the best cars possible. Ferrari showed up once again with their brand new 312 chassis and the V12 3-liter engine that had proved so successful at Syracuse and in the BRDC trophy. But that was only for the recovering John Surtees. Lorenzo Bandini ran an older Ferrari 246 and a smaller 2.4-liter V6 engine. Team Lotus also sported a mixed grid, with Jim Clark opting for the older Lotus 33 and the venerable V8 2-liter capacity engine, where Peter Arundel, his teammate, drove the brand new Lotus 43 chassis attached to the massive BRM H16 3-liter engine. BRM themselves were perhaps the most familiar team on the grid, keeping the same driver lineup, Graham Hill and Jackie Stewart for 1966, driving the reliable P261 in a V8 2-liter engine, slightly up on power from the previous season, a combination they had proven successful in the Tasman Series. And from Australia as well, Jack Brabham with his BT19 and Repco V8 3-liter engine, one of the only proper brand new engines on the grid, had proven it in the off-season, winning the BRDC just the week before. His teammate Denny Hulme wouldn't be as lucky, having one of the older Climax 2.7-liter engines, with a promise for later in the season to get the V8 himself. And notably amongst the others, Bruce McLaren showed up with his brand new Bruce McLaren Motor Racing, his own team to take on the 1966 season. The brand new McLaren M2B chassis fitted with a Ford V8 3-liter engine. Proper power to take a proper run at the season with his teammate Chris Amon. The brand new team's cars are painted white with a green stripe in some collaboration with a movie being filmed at the event, but we'll see later in the season maybe what McLaren's true colors will be. So as you could imagine, this race was a true test of brand new, cutting-edge technology, and the race results proved that, with only 4 classified finishing cars out of the 16 which took the green flag. John Surtees led for much of the way, but after falling out due to engine trouble, it was Jackie Stewart who took the lead, and the reliable BRM took the win ahead of Lorenzo Bandini, who had been closing late during the race, with Graham Hill rounding at the podium for a double BRM podium to start the season. This was only Jackie Stewart's second win, and proved that reliability might outpace engine performance for 1966, and Monaco isn't a track that necessarily needs the most powerful engine, but a competent and maneuverable car will get you to the finish first. And so as we turn our attention towards this 66 season, our racing driver, Richie Axelson, has signed up to compete with Dan Gurney's brand new Anglo-American racing team. And despite the promise to deliver the brand new Eagle chassis for both himself and Richie for this first event of the season, the deadline and testing just couldn't quite be met. And so for what should have been an exciting first event for the team, Richie's had to pull down the same engine and chassis combo that he raced at the BRDC International Trophy, an older BT11 chassis borrowed from Bob Anderson, fitted together with the Climax 2.7-liter engine that Gurney promises to fit in the Eagle chassis as soon as it arrives. The team was able to slap a coat of navy blue paint on the car to make it an American entry, but it's not an Anglo-American Racers entered car. It's a private entry for this race, and Dan Gurney promises the cars should be ready for the next one. So taking a look at the results from qualifying, John Surtees was able to get the pole in the V12 Ferrari with a 131.20, just ahead of Jack Brabham in his V8 Repco. So it's two fully powered cars on the front row, but will they last the distance is the main question. Second row's an all-star lineup with Jim Clark starting in third in the lower powered Lotus 33, but still a bit more power than 65. Lorenzo Bandini starting fourth with a 132 flat, the exact same time to the 100th as Jackie Stewart starting in fifth. So those two neck and neck as they really were in the real race as well. It'll be interesting to see if Stewart can get around Bandini in the BRM, and depending on what happens up front, who knows what the result might be. But those two neck and neck with Graham Hill starting alongside his teammate to make up row 3 and all BRM row. And then back to row 4, again, 2 times with the exact same up to the 100th. Richie Axelson, there I am starting in 7th position. On our BT11, I don't think that's too bad, but I'm definitely down on power. The other cars can just pull away on the straight, especially the ones on the front row there. So I'll have to hope that some have a few bad corners or that there's some of that attrition. Remember, only the top 6 actually pay points in the championship. And not knowing what the rest of the season's going to be for cars and tracks, I think this is actually a decent pairing, the BT11 with the 2.7 liter in it. And so I have to take advantage of this as much as I can to try to get some points. So I really want to get up into the podium. 3rd place is what I got in the 65 season. So if I'm able to do better than that, that'll be a pretty good day. Richie Ginther, my sports car teammate, with the exact same time alongside with the 132.55 in his Cooper Maserati. And then behind, Jochen Rindt and Denny Hulme making up the row behind us. Looking towards the back, Bruce McLaren in his brand new entry, the sole entry for McLaren in this race, starting pretty far back in 15th. And it'll be good to see if he can make the finish in his brand new car. The Monaco circuit is known by most. This race was 100 laps over the course, so with our 1/3 distance that we'll be running all season, that'll be 30 laps, which is no small feat at Monaco. 30 laps is a good race here. 30 laps of trying to thread it through the chicane and around all the corners without even a tap on the barrier is what's going to be needed. And so the circuit in the 60s was very much the same as it is today, but notably no swimming pool section towards the end, so just straight up to the hairpin at the end of the lap, which is always a tricky corner to get slowed down for. And of course the chicane is a terrifying chicane on this version, running the monocane version of the track, which has a more accurate chicane. It's maybe slightly tighter than it was in real life, but you do have to slow down for it. So coming out of the tunnel and slowing down the car is one of the main spots where incidents can happen. So the grid is all lined up and ready to go for the 1966 season. Anything could happen from this point, and being consistent throughout the season, not taking too many chances, making sure we get to the finish and hopefully win a couple along the way. That's what's going to seal it up for us in the World Drivers' Championship. So let's get started with this, the 1966 Monaco Grand Prix. Alright, so here we are on the grid. I've got nobody to my left, just Richie Ginther on my right. Flag is up. Down. We're underway. Nice. The Mantle wheel spin off the line, run down now to Sandevote behind Jackie Stewart here, slip alongside Graham Hill. Should be able to outbrake him coming up to Sandevote. Leave the inside open though, I don't know if he's there. Everybody's so slow up the hill. Come on, Jackie. Tentative on the opening lap. Trying to be a bit aggressive. We'll come in to Massenet then. Toe the line nice and easy into Casino. Cold tires. Need to try to get into a groove here. Got off the line really well there around Graham Hill in front of me, so it might be in the points already. But the full field here as we come to the hairpin for the first time. Work our way down the hill. Nice run out here onto the straightaway and up to the tunnel. Get up to 4th gear here. Don't really use 5th gear, at least with the way I have the car set up. Slide it through there. Now brake nice and early for the chicane. Car's very heavy right now. Throttle back down as we come along the harbor and up to Tabak. 2nd gear again. Close in a lot on Stewart through there. Carry a lot of speed. Make the run down to the final hairpin. Pretty close to him. Brake nice and early for this one. A tough braking zone. The car wants to break away. Down to 1st gear. Come around the outside. Oh, Jackie's right there on the right. The throttle down to complete the first lap. Graham Hill thought about going up the inside there, but able to block him. It's a sandwich between both BRMs. almost over-rotating the car there. Just trying to get on the power early to get a nice run up the hill here. Down to second. Carry the car around nice and smooth. Just guide it right between the Armco. You can't hit anything, just one touch. Minimum, you're going to throw the toe out. Coming out of the hairpin again. Really tough place to try to pass, but really close to Jackie there. I'm going to throw it up the inside. See if I can get close to him somewhere. A little less risky. Also want to stay off these curbs right on the edge of the track, basically sidewalks. Can easily damage the suspension, clobbering into those. We'll come into the tunnel again, fourth gear. Come down the hill, lock up the left front a little bit. It's always risky coming down the hill there, but you need to try to be as aggressive as possible. Oh, come down to second gear. Jackie's so slow again into Tabak. It might be a good place to remember on the next lap. Down to first gear here. There's nobody behind really. Graham Hill's fallen off a little bit. This is right with Jackie. We'll look at the pit board. P6. Last time through, 28 laps to go. Stewart right in front. Hill right behind. You can see, I think, Bandini in front of Stewart. And the field's starting to stretch out just a little bit. Lost a bit on Stewart there through the front straightaway in Sandevote. Slided through Casino again. Down to Mirabeau, first gear. Jackie runs a bit wide. Looks like he might be trying to make a move on Bandini. Come into the hairpin. Oh, a car almost gets away from me there. Tank slapper with the front end. Just able to hold on to it. Didn't hit the hay bales either. Trying to push a bit. This is the time to try to make a couple moves. Get into a good spot before everybody spreads out too much. Right down to third gear, down to second. Just a little aggressive down the hill. A little shallow of a line and get the car on the right part of the corner. Down to second then. Close right back up on Jackie. He's so slow through Tabak. That could be the place. Just need to be a bit closer going into it. Right about halfway through that grandstand on the left, down to first gear. Want to go later there on the brakes, but it's already so hard to slow the car down. Trying to get on the gas there coming out of the hairpin. Easy to spin the car out. Getting on the throttle. I've got the differential set up so that on throttle you get quite a lot of oversteer just to help pivot the car. But at a few of those corners makes it very easy to spin out. Slightly softer setup too, just to help get the car to react all right over all these bumps and things. Down to first. Make it easier to drive. This is such a tough track to drive. Try to stay close to Jackie here. If I can stick with him through the chicane, maybe have a run into Tabak. Oh, just nip the curb on the inside. Don't want to do that. Nice run out, but he's got quite a lot of acceleration. Might be quicker. I might be quicker in the braking zones, really. Tough to pass him then. Down to second. Nice run through the chicane. Oh, it would take a lot to do that lunge. Gonna close right back up on him, try to accelerate out of here. Make the run down to the hairpin. Oh, missed second gear down to first. Well, now you know who's driving. Really can't miss gears on some of these corners. So easy to throw the car into the barriers if you don't have the engine braking. Down to third then. Nice battle now with Stewart and Bandini here. It seems like we've lost Hill behind, which is all right by me. Less to think about with no cars right behind me. Just focus forward. Trying to get a nice run through here. Very close to that inside barrier. Oh, car gets all sideways over the bump there. Just catching it. That could have been very bad. All right. It's a little out of control. A couple moments already in this one, but pushing quite a bit. Just need to keep the heat on. Keep the pressure on Stewart and Bandini here. See if I can get them to make a mistake or find a place to slip by. So hard to pass at Monaco. We will definitely be catching some lap traffic unless there are a lot of mechanicals, so that can throw a whole new side into things. Right on Stewart again. It's going to be this close every time through here, but I just don't have enough to out-drag him down to the hairpin. He goes to the inside. I missed the gear again. Second, down to second's tough. We went side by side there. Stop doing that for the gearbox as well, up to fourth. Get a nice line through Sandoval. Gonna be right on Jackie now. Nowhere really to pass up here though. Second gear. Slide it through Casino, trying to be a little less dramatic over the bump. There we go. Just kind of avoid it. Take a nice inside line here. Oh, almost side by side with him. Really, we are touching. Come on, Jackie. Slam it in there. We made a little contact on the way out, too. Hopefully not damaging the car. Elbows out at Monaco, but making the pass in the hairpin. Got a white flag ahead too. Bandini slowing down. It's a slow car ahead, I think. Oh, a car on the inside. Who's that? It's like Guy Ligier. So closing right up on Bandini now. Oh, getting caught up in the braking zone there, the chicane. A lot of action on this lap. So getting by Jackie Stewart. Quite what I wanted. A slight bit of contact. I think we hit at least once. Sure, we'll see it in replay. Right down to second gear. Car feels okay. We'll see it on the next lap if there's any suspension damage. Not a lot to knock something out of tow. Knock something out of alignment just slightly, and it makes the car so much harder to drive. Feels all right so far. Tough to tell. Certainly not badly damaged if it is. We'll work up the hill, right on the back of Bandini now, so that Guy Ligier breaking down there helped out quite a lot. Looks like Stewart's falling off behind me as well, which is good. I'm sure he won't be happy about that lunge. It's one of the only places to get it done here, though. Wasn't expecting to get side by side with him on the lead up. The power. Even though we've got the smaller engine than some of the cars, it still has quite a kick to it compared to the 65 cars. A lot easier to spin on throttle. Definitely takes a better trained right foot to drive the 66 machines. Alright, gaining on Bandini now. Is he also slow into box? So might have a nice run on him coming out side by side as we'll head down to the hairpin. Get on the brakes. Gonna be shoved on the inside. Could have maybe stuck it in there, but didn't know if we were gonna make contact. Go side by side here at Monaco. Look at the pit board. So behind Bandini now, P5, 23 laps to go. Still a long way. It's not a sprint race. It's still, even at 30 laps, a decently long Grand Prix. to throw it away early. Also need to make sure my car survives the whole way. I've been pretty reckless thus far. Sometimes when you see the rabbit, you gotta chase it. Down to first gear, then into Mirabeau. The cars in 66 are even just a little bit wider than they were in 65, so it's even harder to get around. You need a little more width in the tire to get that traction on the road. Second gear, can't miss a gear shift there. That's one of the major corners that you need the engine braking for. And the shift into second's always the one that gets me. All right, get on the throttle. You can still see another car ahead of Bandini as well. Seems like the leaders might have checked out though. Not too far off Bandini. Try to get the throttle on coming out of the hairpin. Kick the rear end out. Oh, a nice run up the hill. Once again, nowhere to pass up here though. Just try to stay really close to his gearbox through Casino Square. Down to first gear. Trying to carry a lot of speed. Maybe gonna set him up for the hairpin again, a little far back. Oh, it's tempting to throw it up there, but it's just so easy to make contact like I did with Jackie, or worse. Sure we'll be speaking after the race. All right on Bandini now though. Maybe I can set him up for Tabak. Tried that on Jackie as well. Bandini, of course, my teammate from last season. It's a little too far ahead here to lunge. Down to second. Get a nice run out of Tabak again. Oh, this is such a tricky place to try to pass. Brake, I have to keep it narrow there. He's just on my right side. Cuts me off. Lock up the tires coming into the hairpin. Almost run into him. We got to try him on the right side there if I can get next to him there. All right, nice aggressive line through Sandevote. Much quicker than Bandini. I just got to figure out a place to get by him cleanly. He's running the smaller Ferrari engine, so I think John Surtees probably up front, gapping all of us. But Bandini's still within reach of my climax. Oh, just nip the curb there. Not quite close enough this time here. Tried to apex late there, but didn't quite grab. Didn't arch in like I wanted it to. Right, accelerate away. Try not to over rev the car too much. I'm right up to that 7,000. You really don't want to go above 68 too often, but trying to use everything the engine has to get by this Ferrari. Nice acceleration out of the chicane. Down to second gear here. I get a little bit of a run on him. It's going to block the right side. I want to throw it up the inside there, but it would just be a repeat of the last laps. That's not going to work either. Across the line, I'll check the pit board next time by. These laps ticking away. Good battles so far. Get a little squirrely coming into Sandevote, but clucked it right out to the guardrail there. Oh, if only there was a passing opportunity up here, but it's barely 2 cars wide, if that. First gear here, cut the line in, trying to get on the throttle. Come on. Oh, he's going to cut me off. Got alongside him just barely, but didn't give me the space. Another white flag in front. I need to be careful as a car on the inside. Looks like Mike Spence. Bandini slowed down a little bit for that, but coming down to the chicane, he can't pass here. Down to second gear. So Mike Spence with some mechanical trouble, seeing some cars fall out. If I push Bandini, maybe his car will break down. All right, gonna run. Gonna try it again on this side. I have to brake so early. It's so frustrating. Probably want me just to lunge there, but he's not gonna give up either. Giving the spectators a great show, those side-by-side, lap after lap there. All right, Bandini. At this point, you might want to pull over. I think I've shown that I've got a quicker car today. This isn't going to end well if we keep going side-by-side like that. Down to first gear, try to carry a lot of speed, be close to him. Car's snapping away from under me. Try to jump up the inside. Ugh. He sees me at the last second. All right, get around Bandini. Same place I got around Stewart, a little less aggressive that time, or a little less contact. Try to stretch away here. Just focus forward now. I'm definitely quicker than him, so I should be able to pull away, get a nice gap, don't do anything silly. He's gonna have just as much trouble passing me as I did him, so just hold a good line. Down to second gear, into the Tabak. Finally get to use the whole track here, coming down to the hairpin. Just don't outbrake myself. Don't quite get up to fourth that time. Right down to first gear here into the hairpin. Bandini close, but should be able to stretch him now. So last lap was behind Bandini. Be up to P4 now with 18 laps to go. But no sight, no one in sight in front of me. To see next lap, next time by, who's actually up there. Imagine Surtees and Brabham are both pulling away. I don't know who else would be in front of me right now, though. We'll find out. Down to Mirabeau, down to first gear. Bandini sticking in there behind me. Make sure he doesn't try to take a lunge up here like I did. Ran him really deep into the corner. He had to avoid me, but there's really no other way to get around easily. Tried for many laps. Stretching it out now. Gapped him a little bit through there. Down to the chicane. Down to second gear. Car almost breaking away from me there. Man, so close sometimes. No sign of anybody in front. I can hear a couple cars going by in the front straightaway there. The two sides are very close. It's really just a wall between them. All right, so P4, Jim Clark in front, 17 seconds up the road with 17 laps to go. We'll have to see. There should be some lap traffic involved. And of course, he's driving a Lotus. Not the most reliable of cars. We'll have to see what happens. But just try to put in consistent laps here. This is the time of the race, 17 to go, where it's so easy to start making mistakes, and again, just one touch of the wall away from being out of the race altogether. P4 is just one worse than I finished in the 65 race. But wouldn't be the worst start to the season. It's just clipped the curb there in the hairpin. Be careful of that. power on. Down to third gear, down to second, trying to make this a little less dramatic this time. Easy to lose a lot of time there, but it's the easiest place to ruin your race. Let's see what the pit board says this time by. See if we're closing it all. Of course, it's 1 lap delayed with the pit board, so. But, 10 seconds, pulled in 7. There must be lap traffic ahead or something to cause that. All right, well, that looks much better. 10 seconds with 16 laps now. Wide onto the hill there. Give it a breath of the throttle, make sure I don't spin the car out again or get close to it. Even though the track here, it's a kick the car there, it's good. Even though the track here appears wider than it is, even in the modern Monaco, the curbing effectively is the wall. You really can't jump that curbing, you'll damage the suspension, you blow a tire. It's just as bad as hitting a wall, so you have to try to thread the needle. Do the same there, lap after lap, hold your breath. Get down to second gear. A little slow. I feel like I've slowed up a bit. When you don't have somebody to chase, it can be tough to get your rhythm enough to put in solid laps. Sometimes it's easier to chase somebody, but just try to pull away. I think I pulled away a little bit from Bandini. There he is in the mirror. 8 seconds now, so another 2. So I'm pulling in Jim Clark. It's not something you can say in every race. We'll see probably shortly why he's being held up. Can't imagine that's the pace of the Lotus. We would have caught him many laps ago. Right against the barrier there. It's an easy place to accidentally hit it if you apex just a little too aggressively. Little extra wheel lock in for Monaco just to get around the hairpins a little bit easier. So the wheel's a little more sensitive than at other tracks. Come to the top of the hill, I see a car up there. Could it be Jim? Oh, it looks white. That doesn't look like Jim Clark. Might be the lapped car he got stuck behind. Catch him, whoever it is, soon enough. Just try to keep on the right pace. Bandini's not falling off of me as much as I thought he would. Still back there, keeping me honest. Still 8 seconds last time through. So it's kind of leveled off. 14 laps to go. So we're over halfway. Still quite a lot of racing to go. Should be interesting in the second half. It's definitely got a slow car up ahead. Down to first gear. Around lap traffic is almost as difficult as getting around an actual position. That's why we saw maybe Jim back up to us. Oh, a white flag again. So coming around here, there might be a slow car. There is. I don't know who that is. Looks like a Cooper. Might have been Rent. It's a Maserati, not bulletproof. Rent was most definitely behind us. Oh, so close to the hay bales there. will have lost maybe a little time this lap just because of the let up, but maybe Jim Clark did as well to get by the Cooper. Right, catching, I think this is Bruce McLaren in his white painted works car for his own manufacturer. So Clark has pulled out to 11 seconds. Clark pulling away now. The Lotus might be a bit quicker than we are, even though he's got the lower power, but a car very well suited for a circuit like this that's nice and twisty. Down to second gear. So I have to get around McLaren here. There's a car painted for some kind of movie they're doing or something. Here they're paying him big bucks to do it. Right, he's quite slow here. Gonna let me by maybe. Come on, Bruce. So tempting to try to lunge up the inside, but miscommunication can end a race early. He accelerates away. Oh man, what's he doing? Come on, Bruce, let me by. There we go. Get around him down. Just try to brake for the hairpin, kind of on a weird, or the chicane on a weird line there. Get around McLaren. Just hold your breath every time we pass a car. So I don't think we've got the pace in the old climax here to catch up to Clark, but there's a lot of racing to go and a lot of lap traffic to get by. So things may change. 11 seconds out still, last lap by. So he's not pulling away super fast, but need him to come the other direction as we're going to quickly run out of laps at that rate. Second gear here, Massenet. Come down to first gear for Mirabeau. Definitely a balance between pushing to try to catch something that may be impossible and just riding to make sure you can finish and preserve for the race. Something that every race you need it, but this one especially at Monaco as it clipped the curb on the inside just slightly. Getting to the end is an accomplishment around here. It's not a fun track to drive. It's fun when you get it right, but for a long race it's a very difficult circuit. Get through the chicane there. Right out to the guardrail through Tabak. Oh, missed second gear again. A couple times coming into this hairpin. Oh, 12 seconds last time by, so Clark's still finding a little extra speed. Interested to see the battle up there. No lapped cars or anything in front. We found ourselves in a bit of a quiet spot on the circuit. Just try to tick off these laps. Not too many to go. About 2/3 done the race at this point. It's a little upset over that hump. Could play around with the shocks a bit more to try to make it accept that a little bit better, but cost you some time elsewhere. It's a tricky thing whether or not you want the car to be very stiff, to be fast around tight corners, or very easy to maneuver. Shift down to third before the crest there, just to minimize how much shifting I have to do on the downhill. Come into Tabak. It's another one that's easy to hit the inside wall. Very close to it, right on the apex. There's no curbing or anything. Trying to get on the throttle early there. Just don't want to loop the car coming out. 14 seconds. So he's pulling away. Not worth trying to be ultra aggressive to catch him, but try to put in decent laps here. So you never know what's going to happen. Pulled out 11 seconds. But it looked like Stewart behind me now, so maybe Stewart finally got around Bandini. Keep an eye on that, make sure Stewart's not going to catch me here. Right, just keep it nice and tidy here between the curbs. Yellow flag. All right, take it easy around this corner. It's a stopped car. It's Joe Bonnier. Not an accident, luckily, but stopped on the circuit. It's another Cooper. Not a good day for the Coopers so far. Same spot, too. All right, well, that's another car. One less car on the track. Still hear cars go down the front straightaway, so definitely not alone out here. But a nice bit of clear track. Sometimes you get that. All right, 9 seconds behind Clark, so Clark slowed down quite a bit. Just 9 laps to go, though. Maybe he's caught another slow car, though. Oh, that was a bad line through Sandoval. Distracted. Still 9 laps. It's a good amount of distance. It's not over till you come out of that hairpin in the final lap. Just try to be nice and smooth, precise. Guide the car through here, the maze that is Monaco. Just saw a yellow flag for a second. It might maybe be Bonnier still limping back to the pits potentially. Try to keep our eyes open for another flag. No yellow flags here, so not sure what that was. Oh, a car ahead. Maybe that's Clark. Wide there through the hairpin. It's 8 seconds last time through. Not sure if that was Clark. I was just seeing dip off into the distance. I have a feeling that's another slow car. We'll just nip the curb there. Very close to the guardrail on the inside. Still no one in the mirror, so catching the car here. I haven't quite gotten a good sight of it yet to know who it is. Fourth gear then. Fastest part of the track right there, coming out of the tunnel. Right before the scariest corner of them all. Not sure who this is. Looks like a Brabham maybe. White helmet. Might be Denny Holm. I don't know where Denny's been. No, it's Bob Anderson. All right. This is who we got our car from. Pass him on the front straightaway. One of the widest parts of the track. Nice and easy with Bob. You might be wondering how we're so quick and he's not. you get with a gurney tuned engine behind you. All right, second gear now. Didn't look at the pit board that time. We'll see next time by where we're at. Might have been why though. Clark pulled in a bit, was just getting around to Anderson, maybe got a bad spot on the track. I saw another car there for a second ahead, so we'll see. Just going into the hairpin, or as I was coming out of Mirabeau, there was a car in the hairpin there. Well, there's two. There's got to be slower cars as well. Hit the curb there. Through the tunnel. Second gear here, get the car settled before. I want to be accelerating through the hairpin that we have in front of me. That looks a lot like a Lotus, actually. Definitely a Lotus. I think it's Jim Clark. Oh, Sifford in front, all over the track. Down to first gear. Jim's trying to get around Sifford. Sifford lost in his own mirrors. Get by him as well. Yeah, it's Jim Clark. We were 7 seconds last time around. Pulled all the way in. Right behind him now. Race is on. Not too many laps to go. Jim's got quite a lot of pace, but we'll see what I can do here. Got massively held up behind Sifford. Right against the curb on the inside. Just don't want to overdo it. We're so close to the end. I do have points here, but a podium equal my result from last season would be excellent. Nice and easy here. Oh, I just hit that curb on the inside. It should be all right. Lotus seems to be running without issue. Almost lose the car there over the crest. Got another car up the road too. Oh, right down to second gear. Just stay in it. Life flashed before my eyes there at the top of the hill. Try to be as tight as I can through the hairpin. Really held Jim Clark 1 second. 5 laps to go. Pretty much same distance. I think I pretty much equaled Clark on that lap. But equaling him is not going to be enough. Looks like we're catching another car though. Still in fourth. Got a Mirabeau. Broke a little bit early there, but carry speed through the slow stuff. Pulling in on Clark. You can see him very easily now. Was stuck behind another Cooper here. Must be Ginther. Oh, come on. Sports car teammate, help me out. Come down to the chicane. Clark's stuck up behind Ginther. Lay off a bit, try to accelerate out here. A nice run on him coming down to Tabak. It's tempting to throw it up the inside. I don't know if that would end well. Both sneak past Ginther there. Right on the back of Jim Clark now. Need to try to make a move here quickly. I don't know if we'll be able to hang on. Not going to be able to do it into the hairpin though. Come across line. 4 more. Down to third gear. Bogged down a little bit. Didn't quite get the line. Use all the revs. Now's the time to use whatever's left. Just threading the needle. Say it 100 times. All right. Keep keep it tidy. It's not quite as easy to pull up on Clark as it was Bandini. Not close enough to do anything into the hairpin there. I don't know where I'm going to be able to get by him. He's so fast. Really very similar speeds, which is good to see. Not even in my proper chassis yet. Flat out through the tunnel that time. Trying to close up a little bit on the brakes there into the chicane. Down a second gear into Tabak. Right on the back of Jim Clark now. Get alongside him like I did Bandini, but a little bit faster. I think I'm further alongside. Break down for the hairpin. Oh, he's able to stick it in. Comes up and blocks me. Tap the rear of his gearbox. Come on. Side by side, coming across the line, 3 laps to go. Rev it out in third. Not enough time to ship up to fourth. Through Sandevote. There we go, get around Clark. All right, try to pull on him now. He had to give me that through Sandevote, but I don't know where else I was going to be able to get by him. Came up and blocked me into the final hairpin. Hit the back of the gearbox. Can't think about it now, just got to get through these last few laps. Down to first gear. Oh, almost spinning the car there. Just try not to look in the mirrors too much. It'll be hard for him to get by me if I don't make a mistake. So I think I was just as quick as him. Surprising, because he was so far ahead at one point, but I'd been passing cars and everything. A little bit of a gap now, but don't worry about it, just focus forward. Down to third gear, down to second. Oh, weird line into the chicane. Down to second again. Definitely was more ahead of him through here than the pass attempts on Bandini, but so hard to pass around the outside coming into this hairpin. You just have such an opportunity to dive up the inside as the car behind. All right, come across the line. I was P4 last time by, P3 now. 2 to go. On the podium. A second gear, come around. Massenet. Lock up the brakes. Just thinking too much about the braking zones here. Just don't want to miss anything. Getting the car very sideways there. White flag in front. Means there's a slow car. I can't afford to back off too much. Oh, there you go. Ferrari. Oh, I think that's Bandini, actually. Backed off a little bit, get it through the chicane. I was hoping that was going to be Surtees. Looks like Bandini's had some trouble here right at the final few laps. Come down to second gear, into Tabak. Getting my mirror for Clark. Looks like I pulled a good gap on him. Maybe he got stuck there with Bandini at the top of the hill. All right, come to the hairpin, first gear. We'll come to the line. One more lap to go. P3. That's what you want to see. Just got to put a nice, smooth lap together. For some reason, Clark's falling off behind me. Just no need to push it. Way too far off of Surtees in front. Down to second gear for Massenet. Right up to the guardrail there, come over the hump. Throttle down for just a minute, then first gear. second for just a second there. Easy on the accelerator, don't want to spin coming out of the hairpin. I think I saw Clark behind me just for a second. There he is, yeah. It would take quite a lot for him to catch me. Just got to put together a good end of the lap. Just a couple more tricky corners to go. Fourth gear through the tunnel. Come to the top of the hill, let off a little bit early. Just get the car settled down to second gear through the chicane. All right. Back down to third for Tabak. Just one more corner to go. You can see the flag waving. Don't let it distract me. Down to second, down to first, around the hairpin. I can taste the champagne. It might not be a win, but man, coming away with third place there, I think. We'll check the results in a second, but I didn't think I was going to be able to catch up to Jim Clark. Got to thank the lap traffic a bit. My sports car teammate, Richie Axelson. Maybe he didn't know, but how could he know? But allowing me to catch up to Jim Clark, and I think that pass was fair. Made a little contact. I don't like to do that, but getting through Monaco, I think he put me in a position where it was going to be some contact. So crazy stuff. We'll check the final results in just a second. So there it is, in confirmation, Jack Brabham wins over John Surtees by 16.3 seconds. Not super far ahead, but Brabham's Repco engine able to last the distance. Surtees as well in the Ferrari V12, both engines making it all the way, which is pretty great. And there it is, Richie Axelson, third place, 37 seconds off, pretty far away, but I'd have to think I'm kind of driving a Formula 1.5 car right now. So best of the rest, I don't know what you'd call it, but I'm pretty happy with that. I didn't think I was going to be able to catch Jim Clark. I'd kind of settled in there in the middle. I'm sure you could tell. So having him back up to me, lap traffic, it's just as valid as any reason. And by the time I got to him, I had to actually pass him and was able to do that. So got around Jim Clark to get third. We'll get the points for that. Jim Clark finishes fourth, though. Jackie Stewart fifth. Graham Hill in sixth to round out the points paying positions. If we look further down, Bruce McLaren was able to finish his first race in his own car, which is great to see, in 10th position. Lorenzo Bandini is the first out with a piston. That's why we saw him slow towards the end of the race. And then a whole bunch of cars out. Bob Anderson in my sister car, I guess you'd call it, with suspension issues. Joe Bonnier with suspension as well. Jochen Rindt just says retired. We saw him there halfway through the race as well. Mike Spence had suspension issues. Guy Ligier, who we saw very much towards the beginning of the race, had a piston failure. And Bob Bondurant had an accident. We didn't see him at all. So crazy race overall. So taking a look at the points, Jack Brabham starts his season off right with 9 points for the victory over John Surtees with 6 points. Richie Axelson there, I'm in third place with 4 points. Not a bad start to the season. Of course, it's nothing like getting first or second, but a third place finish will be hard to find as a drop race, I think, by the time the season's done. So happy with that. I don't think this race will be dropped after all, and if it is, things are going to be going really well. Jim Clark finishes behind me with 3 points. Jackie Stewart with 2, and Graham Hill for 1, of course. Flipping over to the Manufacturers Championship, which is also running for the full season. Brabham Repco with 9 points, Ferrari with 6, the Brabham Climax, which is what I was driving, with 4. So scoring points for something other than Gurney and the Eagle chassis, but hopefully we get the chassis for the next race and can start racking up the points for the American manufacturer. Lotus Climax with 3 points, and BRM picking up 2 for Jackie Stewart's 5th place. So if you can't tell, I'm very excited with how the season has started off for Formula 1. I think it was a good race. Had nothing for the first 2, but again, running kind of that Formula 1.5. Hopefully when the Eagle chassis shows up, it's just as competitive, if not more competitive. And we'll definitely need it. Next up for Formula 1 is going to be Spa and the Belgian Grand Prix, which is a favorite of many. Hopefully our little Climax engine, which we should be using the same engine there, can output enough power to be fast in the slipstream. But we're a few weeks out from that race happening, and there should be a couple of cool things taking place before then. So until next time, this has been GPLaps. Thank you for watching.